Bulgaria. Today we're ready for yet another video from our JUnit tutorial. Let me share my screen. So, until now, into our JUnit course, first we talked about why you should care about JUnit. We looked how you can set it up. Then we had a really detailed video about annotations. Then we had a detailed video about all the different assertions that you can do. By the way, don't forget to subscribe to the channel with the ring bell so that you get notified about these new videos for our great Selenium tutorials. And check the Lambda test blog because there are many awesome articles. And today, I planned first to do a video about parallel testing, but first I believe that we should discuss data-driven testing. And JUnit is a really rich test framework about making tests with parameters. So I will create 2 videos for that, and this will be the first part. So let's get started. Also, you can download, by the way, from the description. You can clone the GitHub repo and get the source code for all the different chapters from our course. And now I'm going to create a new test in order to make it data-driven. I'm going to automate this to do MVC website that basically has the same example, but written in more than 30 different web technologies, from React to Angular. And I'm going to show you how to do this with Selenium in Java together with JUnit. And later in the end of the video, we are going to make a data-driven test with the different technologies. So my test will be first when I provide the name of the technology to open the following link. Then a specific web application is opened, written in this particular web technology. And then, as you can see, it's again a to-do application where we're just adding new items. By ketchup, press enter. Then when you click, it's crossed out. And we want to check here the number of left items. So again, I created a new project for this called Chapter 5. And in this Chapter 5, I'm going to create a new class, and I'm going to name it to do tests. I'm going to add it to source control. And we will need, of course, we already have everything needed for JUnit. We have JUnit Jupyter API, and later we are going to add one more dependency for writing data-driven tests. And of course, we have Selenium, and we use Selenium 4. And also we need this Maven Surefire plugin to run from command line. But we're going to talk about it later in the course. So now here we need a few private variables. I'm going to add them. We'll have one constant field for mentioning the timeout. We're going to use it in seconds, so 30 seconds. And of course, we need WebDriver. We already have the WebDriver manager dependency, so we are going to open one for the class the browser in this before all method setup class, right? Only once we're going to download the needed driver. And then before each test, we are going to open the Chrome driver, the Chrome browser. So this is why in the before each method, in the setup, we're starting the Chrome browser. Also, in order to handle the different synchronization issues and problems in these tests, we're going to use the fluent wait, the WebDriver wait class. And also in order to do advanced interactions like touch or, for example, pressing enter, we are initializing this actions class. And of course, after each test, we're going to close the browser. So we're using this after each method here. Next, I'm going to create a new test method. For now, I'm going to use the test annotation. Later on, we are going to upgrade this test to be data-driven. And I'm going to call it verify to-do list created successfully. Again, for now, I'm not providing any arguments, but later we're going to upgrade it. Our first job is to navigate to this application, the todo-mbc.com, and then we are going to create a new method where we are going to open the particular technology. I'm going to name this method open technology, and here for now, again, if you return to the application, just to show you what I mean, the name of the technology is this link here. If we inspect it, you'll see here that this is basically an anchor, and we can find it here, basically by the link text name. We have a special locator for this. So here we are going to provide the name of the technology, and this method will be private void open technology. And here as an argument, we're going to provide the technology name. Now, we will have one helper method directly. I'm going to show you where we are going to use the web driver wait. Here we are going to return an element, and I'm going to name this method wait and find element. Here we are going to provide the native locator of WebDriver, and I'm going to name this locator. And of course, pressing Alt and Enter, we need to import the class. And here we are going to return the element. Here I'm going to use the WebDriver wait dot, and as you know, we have the until method that accepts a function. And from the Selenium, we have this expected conditions. Expected conditions, and then here we have the method presence of element locator that basically, as you can see from the hover, accepts a locator. And this until method will return our web element. From the above, as you can see here, we set this duration of seconds. This is a factory method of the duration class. We instructed the WebDriver wait to wait 30 seconds until the presence of this element. This is how we are going to mitigate the issue with some of the elements not appearing right away. And here in the open technology method, now we are going to use this method. And here I'm going to name this element technology link equal to wait and find element. And here, as we discussed, we are going to use the link locator. And here we need to provide the technology name. And afterwards, we need to click it. So this is the first name. Then we need another method. Basically, if we return to our application, let's accept that we already clicked this AngularJS. We have this new screen, right? And we need to add a new to-do item. To do so, we need to type it here. Let's see how we can find this text field. As you can see, it's an input. And maybe the unique thing here, as you can see, because it's Angular, it has these specific attributes about Angular. But basically, we can write an XPath to get it by this placeholder. And how we can do this? Let's see. If you press in the Chrome Developer Tools Control F, here we can type and test the locators. So I can type input, then with @ I can write placeholder and then equal to basically this placeholder here. And then we can send keys here, and then we can basically work here by ketchup. After we type it, we need to press enter. So I'm going to show you how to do this with the actions class. So right now, let's create another method here that we are going to name add new to item. We're going to call it a few times by ketchup. And here below it, I'm going to create it. It will be private void add new to item. And here we are going to add the argument to item. And we need to find the to-do inputs. As we discussed, again, we are going to use our private method wait and find element. And here we are going to use an XPath like this. And then we need to call send keys and type the to-do item there. And then in order to press enter when we're there, first we need to click inside the input. So we have a special click method, but we can click inside an element like this. And since here the actions class implements the so-called fluent interface, another synonym for this is chaining methods. We can chain a few actions, like after we click in the input, we can send keys again, and we need to provide the name of the key. In our case, we're going to press enter. Of course, we need to import this class. And at the end, in order to trigger the whole chain of methods, we need to call perform. And now I can add this many times. And afterwards, we want, by providing the name of the item, to check this checkbox right here. In order to do so, let's inspect it. As you can see here, we have a label. So first we can find the label, and then as you can see, we need to use XPath access to find the input type of checkbox and check it. Let's see how we can do that. First here we can name label, and then we can get the text using another XPath method, text equal, and then we need to provide by ketchup. And then we can use the so-called XPath access. There is, by the way, a really great article on the Lambda test blog about XPath. Check it out. It explains all of this. Preceding, sibling, and then in order to trigger the XPath access, we use this special operator input. Basically, when you select first the label, we're saying, please give me the top element with this preceding sibling. Of course, we need to mention that it's an input. So we can get this locator, and we can create a special method about it. I'm going to name it get item checkbox, and here I'm going to provide, for example, by ketchup. And of course, we need to create this method, private with elements, get item checkbox. So the item, and then I'm going to create a special variable about the extract locator. Extract locator equal to, we need to format it, string format. We need to provide the label. Here I'm going to provide it to the item, and instead of this by ketchup, we need to use %s for string. And then here we need to return. Again, we're going to use our wait and find element, and we need to say by export and use this locator here. And after we find the element, we need to click it. I'm going to call click. And of course, our last job is to assert the left items. So here I'm going to create a new method called assert left items, where we need to provide it the expected count. And let's see now, private void assert left items, expected count. It's a void method, and now we need to find our, as you can see here, there are two different modes. When it's only one item, we don't have the S. When there are more than one, it's with S, and we need to find it like this. Let me inspect it. Where it is. As you can see here, we have this footer. Under the footer, we have this span. So the easiest way to find it is again to use an export, where I can say footer span, and then we can check the count. And depending on the count, we can depending on the count, we're going to change the text. So I'm going to find this result span equal to wait and find element by export. By the way, depending on the technology, the footer is a little bit different. So this is the correct locator to work in all the different ways. Also, in order to format, we'll need basically this expected text. And what else? Again, the expected text will be different depending whether we have one element or more. So here, this will be the expected text if the count is 1. And we're going to create one more method called validate inner text is, where we are going to use the WebDriver wait. Let me show you in a second. We are going to create this method. And here, of course, we'll provide the same thing. And let's create this method. Let me show you how it works. it will be just a private method, private void, validate inner text, where first we are going to provide the result element and then the expected text. And the WebDriver wait, again, we call the till method, then the expected conditions, and there is a special method called text to be present in element, where we provide the element and the expected text, and we are going to wait a few seconds until they match. That's it. Let's run it. A build has been triggered, as you can see below, and now the driver starts the browser. We're opening and we add it, and the test is done. Now, if we want to create a data-driven test about all the different technologies, the simplest way to do it in JUnit, if we have a single, let's call this no params. I'm going to create a second test here that we are going to use a special basically a special annotation. In order to use this annotation, we need to install a new dependency. When you open the POM XML, here at the bottom, we need to add a dependency to JUnit Jupyter. As you know, Jupyter is about JUnit 5 params. Then you need to refresh. And when we return to our to-do tests, the simplest way when you have just a single parameter is to, this parameter for now, it will be the technology that we need to open, technology like this. And here we are going to change the technology. And this new annotation is called, I already created it for all of the different technologies. Let me remind you. The different technologies, I mean here, all of this, depending on the technology name, we are going to click it and then use the same scenario. So first, you need to mark the test as test that it's data-driven with this annotation. And then we have the value source attribute where we need to provide all the different options and arguments that we are going to change here. It's called value source. This works for one parameter, is the easiest way. And let's see. Let's run the test again. It will be run for each of these parameters here multiple times. As you can see here, Backbone.js, the first one, then the second one, and so on and so forth. We're not going to wait for all of them to play, but as you can see, it continues to run, and it's going to run for all of them. In the next video, I'm going to show you many other options that JUnit provides for more complex scenarios, like, for example, running tests with enumeration, running them through different methods that accumulate more complex data with more than one parameter, working with CSV files, and many more. So make sure to watch this next video, part 2. And yeah, after the second part, we're going to talk about parallel testing. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and to check the awesome Lambda test blog. If you have any questions, put them in the GitHub repo or here in the comments below. I'm eager to know what you think. Also, don't forget to earn your JUnit certification. Just visit this URL here, and